All right, well, got the seat in from PRP. That's what she looks like, sitting down in there. I mocked it up, I put two 2x4s flat underneath the seat. Just has tabs, one in each corner, and with the bolt hole. So I kind of set it in there, and I think ultimately I'm going to tilt it back a little bit, but that's about the right height, and I really like sitting in it the way it is. But if you put the windscreen on, I'd have to raise it up. I'd actually probably be a little too low. So I think that's why you see a lot of the boats with the high back seats, and they're just sticking way up out of the boat. I don't know, this is supposed to be a deeper hole than the smaller ones, but you can see there's not a lot of room between the dash, and the seat itself already. I mean, it's comfortable to sit in there and all the way it is, and even if I tilt it back a little bit, but you're talking right there's probably 11 inches, maybe 12. So, that's about as high as I want to bring it. And I don't know about the bucket seats. Maybe they go differently, but I kind of wanted a seat that kicked back a little bit, so it's just comfortable just to sit in it and not be kind of leaning forward. So anyway, that's the seat. I'm basically just kind of planning not putting the windscreen on at all. And I decided to go ahead and go on the right side with the steering. It's just a comfort thing, and when the boat's sitting in the water, the back end's going to be downstream, and to get in the boat here, you'll be getting it off the bank in here, and that's why I put the fuel fill on this side as well. So in theory, you could reach over and start it, before you got in it if you wanted to. I don't know, not a big deal. Every boat I've had was the right side steering, and probably had something to do with the controls being levers and things like that, but I don't know. It's definitely something you can always change later. It's really not that big a deal. So anyway, I went ahead and I got the O-rings for this, and using the stock gasket. It's more of a gasket type thing, rubber. I ordered two sizes and one fit perfectly, to where when the ring went down on it, had to smash in. And that's in conjunction with the original rubber gasket that's in there. So it seems to be tight and good. The O-ring I used for that, if you get that same adapter, I believe it was the Viton 247, yeah, because there was 5 of them, so it's these smaller ones. Can't remember the company I got it from. Actually, McMaster Car is where I got them. They were way cheaper than some other places I saw. So anyway, I actually decided to give it some thought, and on the fuel tank, the spare fuel tank sitting up there right now, I've got another weld-in bung. I finally just stopped and thought about it a little bit, and I'm like, well crap, that has to have a vent on that tank as well, otherwise it'll just airlock. Heck, fuel won't even go over to it, it's just duh, but so anyway, I'm gonna weld in another bung on that. I don't have fuel in it yet, so and do another vent, tee them together, and then just probably come back into that original setup, which I'll be probably mounting under here somewhere. But so anyway, that's tied up. Got another fuel bung for the other tank, or a half-inch bung for the breather line, and then the steering. So I was looking at the handlebar setup. So I took these off of the handlebars, and they're pretty simple. They just clamp on. There's really nothing to it. So my thought here was to go ahead and mount the throttle right up here, and because I'm only using one hand, it actually works really well just to grab it here and then have a 2-finger throttle right there. So, you know, whether I have to cut that off or not, it looks like I can probably, you know, get it in under the wire, still have some room for grip right here. So, you know, with these screw holes here, probably end up taking off this it's kind of a hard foam kind of molded onto it. But if that works, and I don't know what's underneath that, it's not going to probably fit this really well. You know, what's underneath here. So, you know, if nothing else, I'll just whack it off and use this. It's not a big deal. I mean, this is stainless. This is probably steel, just standard carbon steel. You know, which, you know, they'll weld. Just take it with stainless rod probably. And then you could probably plastic coat it or do something. I'm not sure. So that I think is all I want to put on the steering wheel. So I was looking at this, and these controls, they go on the left side, is trim, stop, start, and reverse. And, you know, I can see how having the trim on the handlebar, I don't know, you know, how quick of a, you know, a trim adjustment do you need to make? But I was thinking about actually mounting this off to the side and just like bringing out some aluminum bar tubing at a right angle off of the dash or something, and just mounting that right to it. And just set it up like that to where, okay, here's your start, here's your stop. You know, that's your little fall out of the boat thing. Then your trim, it's all right there, readily accessible. It could just be next to this, you know, right there on the dash. And then, you know, just if you're putting in reverse, I assume you're probably not in a too hairy of a situation, you know, so you just reach over and pull the lever. So anyway, that's my thought. I thought it'd be kind of cool just to leave this and not have to mount that on there. It doesn't really work, you know, on the steering wheel anyway. And when you look at moving this stuff, just not sure that that's practical. I mean, it's you know, the switches, no big deal. The reverse thing, this is all kind of pretty tight in there, you know, and I'm not sure exactly if that's just a magnetic thing or if this is tensioning something in there, but you'd have to figure that out, you know. And this thing's just really bulky and big as far as going on the handlebar. So I don't know. I think that off to the side would be adequate. I guess let me know what you think, because I really don't know. It's all trial and error, you know. And this wiring is just gonna have to go down underneath the dash anyway. You know, I could do holes in the dash, you know, and run a grommet of some kind. If this is mounted permanent, I could clean that up pretty good. Obviously, this has to move with the steering wheel, so this cable here would just, you know, be loose and going into a hole or under the dash. Either way, it's really not that big a deal. So I don't know if anybody's got any good ideas on that. You know, let me know. But you know, I could see how you could even make this into a foot throttle pretty easily. You know, it's a pretty simple mechanism, and you could definitely rig it up as a foot throttle. But I've had a foot throttle on a jet boat before, and even on the lakes, I didn't like it. You know, you hit bumps and your foot moves, and it's like, eh. So I personally, I just don't think you want to throttle on a river jet boat, foot throttle. But to each his own. So anyway, there's the ideas and thoughts on this stuff, and let me know if anybody's got any different ideas. Could certainly use them. Definitely things kind of slip my mind once in a while. And obviously this guy here's, you know, going in the dash where I have it marked out. So getting pretty close. I'm going to pick up some metal for mounting the seat tomorrow after work. Should have some materials to make some progress this weekend. And I really don't think I'm wanting for anything at this point. There's no major component or item to struggle with or order parts for. So anyway, later all.